Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football and welcome back to Football Theory. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers, pleased to be joined by my esteemed colleague and good friend, the only one and only Jeff Howe, joining us for Football Theory. This edition of Football Theory, we do have one of our sponsors is Duck Camp. We really appreciate our friends over at Duck Camp. Duck Camp makes gear for folks who live for being out there, whether that's in a duck blind or a sunrise or on the 40 acres for a Saturday kickoff, born right here in Austin, Texas. Duck Camp builds best-in-class hunting and fishing apparel that works just as well for a full day in the field as it does for a long day of tailgating. From sun protection shirts that keep you cool during those early season scorchers to their iconic game series hats that feel like instant classics, Duck Camp gear is ready for football season, hunting season, and every season in between. Get out there and stay out there and hook 'em horns. Shop Duck Camp at duckcamp.com. All right, let's dive right into it, Jeff, because we got a specific topic we want to talk about here for Football Theory, the NASCAR package, which has undergone a bit of an evolution. We talked about this a little bit after the San Jose State game here on the platform here at On Texas Football. CJ put out a really nice tweet that really depicted some of the evolution of this NASCAR package. For those who don't know what NASCAR is, last season, Texas introduced a package with at least 3 edge rushers on the field. It's not something Texas coined. They were calling it NASCAR. The first time I heard of it, honestly, was the New York Giants in their Super Bowl against Tom Brady, and they had a NASCAR package where they put a lot of their edges, defensive ends on the field to increase their pass rush productivity. And I predicted Texas would do it last year because they had just a plethora of pass rushers to try to utilize, and they did. And this year, one of the evolutionary kind of adaptations, Jeff, of that NASCAR package last year was 3 edges on the field all the time and 1 true D tackle they would put out there on the field. This season, they have had that variation, and there have been Hero Canoe was one of those D tackles. Out of January has been one of those D tackles, and obviously he wasn't available in the San Jose State game. So they used that package, but the evolution that I saw that really got me excited, titillated me as a Longhorn fan and analyst, is the 4 edge rushers now on the field for the NASCAR package. So officially, can we call this the F1 package? Now, this is officially your F1 package. 3 edges, NASCAR, 4 edges, that's F1. Different speed altogether.
This might be the dirt bike package. I don't know. It's hauling. It's very, very lean, very slim. One thing that I don't know, Rod, is, and I've thought a lot about this. I think it's kind of multi-layered to an extent. I think one, when you're facing a team like San Jose State that really has no interest in running the football, I think, look, we saw Texas defend the run against San Jose State with lighter boxes to the point. I don't know if you're going to face another offense like that this year that just does not really care about running the football. They don't really want to try to run the football. So you were able to defend the run with lighter boxes, and I think on third down, you just want to put even more speed on the field than you normally would. So I wonder if this was an opponent-specific thing that maybe they just threw it out there to look at it. The other thing is I think we're still trying to figure, okay, if there's going to be an interior defensive lineman on the field, who's it going to be? And if you look through the first 2 games right now, again, I know we're only talking about a 2-game sample, but your most effective pass rusher, if you just want to look at the Pro Football Focus numbers, your most effective pass rusher, period, on this roster has been Murad Watson. 85.8 overall Pro Football Focus grade. He's actually been better against true pass sets. Against true pass sets, he's got 11 pass rushing snaps, and that's when you know the opponent's going to throw the football. Again, 11 snaps against true pass rushes. 2 of his 3 pressures have come against true pass sets. So maybe the more reps Murad Watson gets, the more familiar he gets with this defense, maybe he becomes that interior defensive lineman. But right now, maybe a guy like the fact that Zeno Umuzolo was the guy over the football, I did not see that coming. And maybe that's a byproduct of 2 things. 1, again, getting as much speed on the field as possible, facing a run and shoot offense. 2, maybe he just understands third down defense better than Murad Watson does right now, just because Murad Watson, don't forget, got here during the summertime. He didn't have spring ball. He didn't get here till June. So I think there's a couple different factors to it, but I'm with you, Rod. I'm fascinated to see, is that just something you just kind of threw out there and maybe we don't see it again? Or is this something that is the start of what the NASCAR package will be in 2025?
Man, I love those numbers you gave about Murad Watson, he's got the team leading sacks right now, right? 1.5 sacks, I believe, for Murad Watson. And I have, they maybe should start using him as that D tackle on that NASCAR package at times. Because I've seen, like I said, they've had true D tackles there. Hero Canoe and Alex January are the guys that I've been able to track that were there in that NASCAR package at D tackle. But when they've also had Lance Jackson in there as they got to kind of bump in. When they bump Burke in as a DN, they bump Lance Jackson around from the edge to inside at times too. So they have now, what I think, even if, let's say it was opponent specific, as you're talking about, which makes a lot of sense. I hope it's not. I hope this is just another, like I said, evolutionary adaptation or another way for them to weaponize NASCAR. It's just so deep at the edge. Why not use those edge rushers on the field, especially in there's third and long, and there's third and forever, right? There's third and 7. That's third and long. Third and 8, that's third and long. But third and 15, when we get to third and double digits, maybe that's when you go F1 package. Yeah. Maybe that's when you break out now. I mean, we've got all edges on the field, and we don't care because the NASCAR essentially to me was always my best coverage specialist and my best pass rush specialist. I'm trying to get them all on the field at one time. And, the secondary kind of reflects that because they like Grayson Littleton out there in their NASCAR package. Because right now they've run nothing but NASCAR nickel, which, by the way, I also predicted because they like their linebacker so much. You are one of the, founding fathers of the Ty Anthony Smith fan club, and they love him out there. He doesn't lead the field. They love him in NASCAR. I'm gonna him and Anthony Hill are almost staples in the NASCAR. We haven't seen the dime yet out of the NASCAR, which means they believe they're so deep at linebacker that they don't want to take linebackers off the field. And also, I think they want to have a better front 7 in case teams want to run against the NASCAR, which they had some success doing last season in some of those NASCAR situations.
Yeah, the other thing too, and again, looking at some of the Pro Football Focus numbers, and you didn't need the PFF numbers to tell you against San Jose State, like this edge group is really close to having the kind of sack numbers that reflect their effort getting to the quarterback. Like Brad Spence is really close. Colin Simmons, believe it or not, is, again, looking at the PFF numbers, one of the more effective pass rushers in the SEC through 2 games. Now, I know because of the penalties and the fact that he doesn't have the raw sack numbers, they're not going to reflect that. But just in terms of his down-to-down effectiveness, I think that does 2 things, right? I think, 1, it shows, okay, Colin Simmons is still having an impact, a per-snap impact. And 2, the more times he's on the field in pass rush situations, especially when it's predictable down and distances like you're talking about, the more it's going to open up things for everybody else because you've got to occupy him. You can't occupy him with one blocker. You got a slide protection. You've got to chip with somebody. You've got to send another body after him. That's going to open it up for Brad Spence. It's going to open it up for Zeno Azumalo. It's going to open it up for Trey Moore or Anthony Hill or whomever's rushing the passer. So, yeah, I think when you start to really look at it, that edge group is really, really close to having the kind of sack numbers that are going to reflect, yeah, this group is going to be as good as we thought it was. And to that point, to your point, Rod, the more of those guys you can have on the field, the better off you're going to be. In other words, this NASCAR package, the effectiveness of it, just the framework of it, it's trending in the direction that we thought it might. Let's just give it a little more time to bake before we kind of make any wholesale judgments one way or the other. But I like the way it's trending.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they have different recipes for it now. To your point, getting back to your analogy about letting it bake, right? Because first of all, the NASCAR nickel, they have a funky one too. And I don't even know if I consider it in the NASCAR package. But when they put Trey Moore at linebacker, and then they also have their edges on the field, that's a little, maybe you want to call it a neutral NASCAR or a neutered kind of NASCAR. But I think they can do something with that, and the fact that they have Anthony Hill, who also is a guy that can play on the edge for you. And they've also been using Colin Simmons in some exotic ways, putting him in the B gap, putting him off ball, walking him down late to the edge, bumping guys inside. They like to move him around in the NASCAR package a little bit too, which I like. So between Trey Moore and Anthony Hill and Colin Simmons, guys, they're basically working. Now, I don't like that they drop Colin Simmons back sometimes in third down. I don't like it. They've done it a couple times, drop him as a spy, and I get it. You want variation there, but man, he's so valuable rushing the passer. I don't know if he's one of the guys I would drop. But anyway, I digress. Between Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons, and between Trey Moore, both guys who can play linebacker, off ball, and also play on the edge, I do believe they could still be cooking something up. With a very versatile package with all of those guys. But right now, when they actually do put Trey Moore at linebacker sometimes, and they'll still have their edges on the field, and it's all about how they use him, whether they're going to walk him up or keep him off. So I do like that too. And like I said, the NASCAR nickel last year was about a quarter of your NASCAR snaps. This year so far, it's been 100% of your snaps. I think they really like their front guys, period. And they don't want to take front guys off the field to put DBs on the field, even though they're deep at safety. They think they're deeper in the front, and they're right.
Yeah, to your point, right, about Colin Simmons, I've said this in the past when I saw Manny Diaz do it with Alex Okafor, and I hated it. I saw Todd Orlando do it with Joseph Osai, and I hated it. And I love PK, but I live by the Will Muschamp theory. You don't train a thoroughbred to run backwards. You want that guy going downhill, attacking the football. So let's limit how much we're dropping Colin Simmons into coverage. That said, I'm with you 100%. You've got – and we're seeing now stuff that we talked about in theory throughout the spring and throughout the summer. Like, hey, your NASCAR package could have endless looks. Well, yeah, because we saw Zena Azumalo in there. You can bump Ethan Burke inside. We saw where you can bump Lance Jackson inside. You can still bump Justice Terry inside. And they've barely broken the seal on what Justice Terry can do thus far. Alex January is out, but again, maybe they found something with Murad Watson as a pass rusher. You can have him over the ball. Like, you talking about Trey Moore at linebacker. And no matter what, whether you're nickel dime, whatever, I want Ty Anthony Smith out there basically. So you're playing at least 2 linebacker personnel at all times. So you're right, Rod. I think as good as, and they're really good on the back end. Like we know there's talent there. They're just deeper in the front, both edge, interior D line, and linebacker. And again, the combinations are endless. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this same group on the field against UTEP, because you're facing an air raid offense where they've actually been really good about protecting Malachi Nelson this year on 56 dropbacks. He's only been pressured 12 times. That's about a 16, 17, 18% pressure rate on dropbacks. Now, the flip side of that is he's been sacked 3 times. He's 1 for 7. So when you do get pressure on him, it benefits you. It's just through 2 games, the UTEP offensive line and that offensive structure Scotty Walden had has been really good with protecting Malachi Nelson. So you're going to get a really good crack at it this weekend, Rod. And again, I wouldn't be shocked if they put that same group on the field. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw different 3rd and long scenarios where we look back on Sunday and like, man, we saw 3 or 4 different iterations of the NASCAR package and what it could look like.
Yeah, no, it's made my job even tougher. Usually I just go and track NASCAR snaps. Now I got to go back and track personnel in the NASCAR snaps because it's a lot of different looks. Now that could just be, like you said, matchup specific early on in the season. They're playing San Jose State, they're playing UTEP. Maybe they want to get a lot of guys out there and just see who works best together and who's most compatible with the package. Be interesting to see who they roll out there in their NASCAR packages versus Florida compared to what they did versus Ohio State. But it's still actually really productive for you. Remember last year you were a team, your NASCAR havoc rate was above 30%. Like it was a little above 30%, which is freakish. Actually it was 32% in the last 7 games of the season. You revved up as you got more comfortable. It was actually Trey Moore who kind of started making a lot of plays in that NASCAR package as he started to be more productive. And your havoc rate right now in your NASCAR package, you had a forced fumble and a fumble recovery, which is good. You've had a couple of PBUs out of your NASCAR package already. So you're already hovering above 25%, which is, and they haven't even gotten started with this thing yet. So it is a valuable weapon for Texas on 3rd down. Last year, I would argue it was the best 3rd down defensive package in all of college football. And I literally can make that legitimate argument compared to anybody else. This year, I want to see if it's going to be just as effective. Seems like they're definitely going to focus on it, and we'll see if they want to make it more. They want to make it a bigger part of the defense. Last year, they played around 16% of their snaps overall. We'll see, this year if they end up playing it close to that number as well.
The other thing too, Rod, and I hope people don't lose sight of this, because you're going to face another at least in terms of structure, a dynamic offense with what Phil Longo is going to bring to town with Sam Houston. Like, we know Phil Longo for a long time. He's been a big spread guy. He's had plays like you hear from his guys at Ole Miss and North Carolina. Like, they have times where they don't even like call a route. It's just like, just go try to get open. Like, it's pretty wheels off. And he's had some really good quarterbacks. Drake May probably most recently was the best one he had when he was at North Carolina with Mac. But I digress. But you don't lose sight of the importance of the second level defenders in the NASCAR package, because once you get to Florida and Oklahoma specifically, Leonga Lafau, Ty Anthony Smith, yes, Trey Moore and Anthony Hill are going to be on the field, no question. But Ty Anthony Smith and Leonga Lafau, their effectiveness on your third down package, that's going to determine how many different guys you can use to spy DJ Lagway and then in turn John Mateer, because you're going to need to have a really good game plan against Florida to account for DJ Lagway. But then in the name of making it hard on Oklahoma, you're going to have to come up with a similar game plan, but completely flip it the following week. So that way you're breaking tendency and making it tough for Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer to pick up on it. So the time for experimentation is now, Rod. But again, don't lose sight of the importance of those non-pass rushing second level defenders, and even the third level defenders, because we talk about Michael Taft, Jelani McDonald. You got guys in that nickel and safety group too that could be spies.
Yeah, that's good stuff there, Jeff. And there's just a couple of things to watch in this upcoming game versus UTEP. Do they use the F1 package again with Zena, Burke, Simmons, and Moore, all four edges on the field? Or was that matchup specific, as Jeff brought up? And do they play the NASCAR on any down other than third down? I saw it. Obviously, I saw it in the Ohio State game once on a second down, and I saw it on a fourth down in the San Jose State game. So maybe you start seeing it on some other downs that they like it. Now, they might just got caught up. Now, you also saw it on a first down, but that was end of half. So they do like to play a 2-minute drill, end of half, also is one of their defenses. So I want to see if they start playing it in more neutral situations on earlier down, especially if you get a team in a second and long, second and 12, second and 15. Why not throw your best edge rushers and your best coverage specialists out there? All right, Jeff, good stuff. Let's thank our final sponsor of Football Theory before we end today's program with two messages from two legendary lifetime Longhorns, Vince Young and Colt McCoy.
Pros know the pain stops here.
Physical therapy helps me as an athlete then and now. And do I still need therapy? Yes. Advanced Pain Care helps with that.
Injuries will stack up. They'll add up. You can't let those injuries get you down, and Advanced Pain Care has been very helpful for me.
We can help with whatever's got you down, from nerve damage to our spinal cord stimulator. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Same-day appointments available.
Advanced Pain Care. The pain stops here.
All right, thank you very much to our friends at Advanced Pain Care for sponsoring Football Theory. And thank you, Jeff, for all the knowledge and the expertise. Great conversation as always. Thank you to our man Matthew behind the scenes. He is the real MVP. And thanks to each and every one of you for watching and for listening. And for Jeff and for Matthew and for our friends at Advanced Pain Care and duckcamp.com. We'll see you next time. Hook 'em.